Well, here we go again. The powers that shouldn't be, once again, are trying to block the ability to download YouTube videos off of YouTube, which I've always been able to do, throughout my time on the internet, but every single time they do something that makes it so you can't use the YouTube downloader anymore, and YouTube downloader has to update their application in order for it to work again, and I just downloaded the update and now it's doing this crap to me. Unable to extract video info. It was working fine this morning, but after I got home, this started to happen, so I downloaded the update and it's still happening. I cannot stress enough about this where people need to start fighting for their data. Not being able to share data, hard copies of data with one another, and it's being completely blocked by these messed up, fucked up corporations that want to control everybody's data. They want your data on their computers. The cloud that everybody talks about is just somebody else's computer. That's it. It is not some magical thing where you always have access to it no matter what. No, it is somebody else's computer that can block you from having access to your own data whenever they want. And this is pure evidence that they are seriously always trying to block my ability to download YouTube videos. Now, I can understand why they don't want you to download movies. You know, movies that people produced, like that are in the theaters that they put for free on YouTube sometimes. I can understand that because that's, a business, that's movie making. But to be able to download other people's videos from the internet, personal videos, and not being able to do that is fucking bullshit. People should be able to share videos with one another and not be prevented by some corporation that wants to control your data. If I could have one message to tell the American people is start fighting for your data, to have control of your own data. Companies are designing products where they can remotely administrative access to your property if it's connected to the internet. If one of your products is connected to the internet, your phone is automatically doing this. As soon as you log into your phone for the first time, you automatically have to agree to terms and services that makes your data get intercepted and gathered by the cell phone company, and they sell it to other companies for profit. That's what they do with your data. The cell phone companies automatically do this the first time you log into your phone. But every product that has to connect to the internet that you buy, all of them can be remotely accessed by the company that made the product, and they can admin control anything they want to do to your product and not even need to come into your house, not even need to be on your property at all. They can do all this remotely. That's the whole point of all of these products being connected to the internet that don't have to be. Like your refrigerator, like your dishwasher. Pretty soon your toilet will have to be connected to the internet. And probably after that, you'll have to pay a monthly fee to be able to use your toilet. If you don't pay your monthly fee, then maybe your toilet seat won't come up or something, or your refrigerator won't be able to open someday, all because you are not able to pay your monthly fee. This is the direction we're going. If you don't understand that, you need to wake up and see what is really going on with this. What is this? They're trying to intercept all of your data, like illegally. This should be illegal. This kind of control over people's products that they buy should be illegal. But nobody's fighting for it. Nobody is trying to push against it. So they're just getting away with whatever they want to get away with, and they're going to keep pushing it as far as they can until somebody starts doing something about it. I can't be the only one that sees this and says we should fight for our data. Somebody else out there has to understand this. Our data is being completely taken over. Our products are being completely taken over remotely by these manufacturers, and it's getting worse and worse all the time to the point where you don't even have full control over your car anymore. They force you to pay a monthly fee just to use your seat heaters in your car. To be able to use your Wi-Fi in your car, you have to pay a monthly fee now. They are making it so you have to pay a monthly fee to use everything that it connects to the internet. That's the whole point of making the products connect to the internet when they don't not have to be. They don't have to be connected to the internet. The only reason they are is so they can control your ability to use it. Your access to use it, they can block at any time, and they push you to pay them in order to use it. That is a joke. That should be illegal. You buy it, you own it, you should be able to use it whenever you want. They should have no right to have administrative access to your property after you've purchased it. That is invasive. That is illegal invasion. That should be illegal. But the government, our wonderful government of the United States, isn't trying to fight against this. No, they're supporting it. And they're doing it themselves. The government is now following in the footsteps of these corporations, where they're now making a terms and service agreements just to get your driver's license renewed. And in that terms and service agreements, it states that you must, at a request of any officer, give a blood test, provide a hair drug test, do an alcohol test, do a sobriety test. Any of these requests by an officer, you must agree to in order to get your license renewed. And if you renew your license and you agree to it, and then the situation occurs where the officer requests this from you and you deny him, then you are technically breaking your agreement with the government, and they can literally fine you or arrest you if you try to deny them their request of whatever it is they're requesting from you. Just because you agreed to the terms and service agreements, where that right there should be illegal for the government to do. Before, the government just gave you an application where you fill in your information. You put your name, your address, all the information that has to be on your license. You put that on that document so they have it on their records, and then they give you the license with that information on it. That's how it was working. That's how it's supposed to work. This terms and service agreement that they're forcing you to agree to in order to get your license renewed should be completely and utterly illegal. That should not be illegal. The government should not force people into compliance by terms and service agreements that people just don't even read and click past it like it's nothing. That is wrong. That is not how a government should work. And that is basically entrapping the people against their will, forcing them to agree to something just to be able to do what they had the privilege to do beforehand just by filling out something and providing their information. These are the things that are happening in the day and age today that nobody is seeing, nobody's understanding, and by the point where people do wake up and finally realize what's happened, it'll be too late. Everybody would already have agreed to their terms and service agreement, and there's no going back. There's no fighting against it once everybody has complied with their forced compliance. I don't know anybody out there who would want that. Nobody out there would want that if they understood that's what's happening. But because nobody really realizes it, that everybody just, is blindsided whenever they go and they click that agree button and don't read it, they're basically setting themselves up to be completely and utterly controlled and forced in compliance by the administrative governmental authority, quote unquote, that seems to think they have all the power they could ever want to do whatever they want, where the Constitution doesn't state any of that. The Constitution doesn't empower Congress to do any of these things. Bailouts is not in the Constitution. Uh, Food stamps or government support, subsidies are not in the Constitution. None of these things about lobbying and any of that shit is in the Constitution, but they do it anyway because nobody is trying to fight against it. Nobody understands what they're doing. Nobody sees what they're doing, so nobody's doing shit about it. if people really need to start looking at all this behind the scenes, behind the curtain bullshit trickery that is happening with technology and with Congress and with the laws and with everything that the government's doing, along with the Federal Reserve and all this manipulation trickery that they're doing digitally, is is a joke. It's a serious joke that needs to be made illegal for the government and for the corporations to do against the people. I feel like I'm so alone in this, that I'm the only one yelling and screaming that we need to stop this. We need to prevent this from happening. We need to fight against this. And not a single. Well, there's like maybe two other people on YouTube that I've seen that actually do recognize this, and that's because they were pushed to the point where, like, this guy's dishwasher, he bought it and it had to be connected to the internet, and because he didn't make an account with the manufacturer, he tried to use his dishwasher and it stopped before the rinse cycle. It wouldn't go through the rinse cycle until he made an account with the manufacturer and logged into his account and connected his dishwasher to the company's servers. Then it would do his rinse cycle. And he made a video saying, why are they allowed to do this? They can't do this. Well, by the time you get to that point, it's already too late. They've already done it, and there's no going back. We have to prevent that situation from happening. We can't let them just let it happen, and then once you realize what the problem is, there's no fixing it. You have to prevent it from happening first, or there's no going back. They're going to do it, and there's no changing it. It becomes the common ground, it becomes the common law, where they say, nope, that's just the way it is. We're not changing it, and there's nothing you can do about it. We have to stop it before it happens. And with the amount of people trying to who see this and is trying to fight against it, is just pathetic. There's probably less than 1,000 people in the entire country that probably understand this, and nobody is listening to them. The rest of the population of the country is completely oblivious to what's going on. They just hit that agree button and they don't even care to look at anything. Where if there's any agreement that I should advise you to look at, is the one for your cell phone. When you get a new phone for the first time and you're logging into it for the first time and you have to hit that agree button, look through that agreement before you agree to it, just so you know what's in it. Or if you're installing an operating system on a computer for the first time and you see that terms and service agreement just to be able to install the operating system, look through that one as well. Those are the two main ones that control data, that control data flow, that have all the details in it. All the rest of the terms and service agreements are just mirror agreements to those two. Those two are the main ones. Everything else is just a follow up of those two agreements. So if there's any agreements that you will ever take the time to read, make it one of those two, and you'll understand what exactly they're doing. In the agreement, it states in the agreement that anybody who wants to do a class action suit against these companies based on their product or their software, that you cannot do it. When you hit that agree button, you agree to not participate in a class action suit against that company. Why would they do that? Why would they put that in the terms of service agreement? Other than to prevent people from grouping together to fight against what they are doing to our products. There's no other reason to do that in your terms and service agreement unless you are preparing to fight against a group of people who are against what you are doing in your product, in your terms and service agreement. They would not put that in their terms and service agreement if they weren't concerned about a group of people suing them for what they're doing. I just don't get it. People need to start fighting against this, or we're looking towards a very dark and grim future. That whole you won't own nothing and be happy, it's not really you will own nothing, it's that your property will be remotely controlled by the manufacturer, and you will be granted access to your property. Even though you paid for it and bought it, you don't own it because you don't have full administrative access to it. The manufacturer does. And that's the way they're trying to put it and keep it for everybody. They you could buy it, you have the illusion of owning it, but they get remote administrative access to it and you don't get administrative access at all. That is where the problem lies, and that needs to be fixed. The person who buys the product, they are the ones who get administrative access to their property, not the manufacturer. If we can fight for that, just that, to be our own administrator to our own property, that would at least be something. But as of now, you have no administrative access to anything that's connected to the internet, and the company that manufactured the product does. And that's the problem. People need to become aware of that and fight against it. Fight for their right to have administrative access to their own property, or else we're looking towards a future where you will be forced to own nothing because the manufacturer has forced their way into the administrative position of your own property and denied you administrative access to your own property. We need to fight for that, or our future is doomed.